Hello, I'm MPX and this is Q&A Saturday, the weekly series I run on my channel, where I answer your questions that have been asked over the past week or so across the channel. This is a fun opportunity for me to respond to a lot of the questions that you have had for me about either Minecraft, about Minecraft news, or just about anything else people have wanted to ask me. Obviously, these tend to be focused about Minecraft updates, but given that this past week we did just have the huge announcement of just an update that came out, also the Xbox One is continued to be updated, there's just a lot of things people want to ask me about the game in general, so this is going to be a fun collection of questions and answers about really important Minecraft console questions. So hopefully you do enjoy this video. You can like it if you do like it, because it helps out the channel, and let's know you do like Q&A Saturday and do like this weekly back and forth I like to have with subscribers. So with that said, let's get straight into the very first question, which comes in from Jojo MC, who asked the big question of, do you prefer that the Legacy Xbox One edition stays being updated? And first of all, I mean, I don't really like Legacy Xbox One, but I guess it does kind of differentiate the Bedrock version from the old one. But to answer your question, I do prefer it indeed. I said this from the very beginning, like, even from when they just hinted that maybe we'll stop updating it, I was like, no, that's a terrible idea, because it seems on their end, you know, some business executive made the decision of like, if we stop updating that version of the game, people will have to switch over. But truthfully, it just kind of drives resentment. It makes people not want to switch over that much more because they feel like they're being forced. I really do think the way you get most things done in most parts of life is you let people voluntarily do things. Like, you know, like if you want to encourage people to, you know, switch over, you just say like, oh, here's a new version. We think it's better for these reasons. If you don't think that, then just wait and do it sometime in the future. Instead, they're like, oh, if you don't think it's better, then guess what? No more updates for you. Ha ha ha. Now you have to play it. And yeah, in general, I feel like if you force someone to do something, you're going to have a worse time. You know, again, it's not just like it's going to be worse for them when they do it, but I think you have a lower success rate when you force people to. And I feel like, yeah, the game being updated is just a good application of those principles and a good thing in general. So that's the answer to my question. I really am glad they're updating the Legacy Xbox One. At some point, the Bedrock will overtake it and will be the better version of the game. I have no doubt. We just don't know if that point is going to be a year, 2 years, 3 years, 12 years, or, you know, maybe even 6 months if Bedrock goes really fast. But we have to wait and see how that does go, but it's a big issue. So let's move on to the second question now, shall we, which comes in from Morgan Hunt, who says, it was about a year ago we first heard about the so-called build off. Where is it? Did 4J forget? So yeah, at Minecon 2016, we heard our first announcement of it, that like, wouldn't a building minigame be interesting? And then we saw some code breaks a little bit after that in the game code. I think it still references build off somewhere in there. So where is it, and did 4J forget? And the answer to this question, I've got more details because we got some big news about it, and I want to go through all of that after I've, again, confirmed it a bit more, made sure it hasn't been, you know, refuted in the next couple of days. But yeah, tomorrow expect a big news video all about the next minigame, because we got some massive, again, perhaps leaked / confirmed information. But to answer your simple question, I don't think they forgot about it, but there is just the huge issue of how build-off would work, because again, build-off is such a cool idea for a minigame. People always like, you know, like the number one minigame people who don't play, you know, don't like combat ask for is always going to be something like, oh, what about a building minigame? And the truth about it is that, yeah, even if you have like the full 8 players that the last gen consoles can allow, that's still not enough of a sample size to get like a fair, unbiased thing. And basically, like, there's just so many issues with implementing a minigame like that was designed for servers, and that doesn't really work well on servers either. There's still a fundamental flaw there, and trying to put that on an even smaller scale on consoles, I just don't think it's the best of minigame ideas. And again, I'm pretty certain now that we're not going to be seeing it, but I'll make a full video. I want to make sure that's 100% before I make the video on that. So expect that tomorrow though, build off and the next minigame. We have some big news about that, and the simple answer is that build off isn't coming. It hasn't been forgotten, it just doesn't work. So let's move on to the next question, which comes in from Adifia Karkifkayan, who says, let's just say that you miss one of the 12 days. Will you get that day's world on the next day, or is it gone forever? So yeah, basically there are 12 free gifts of random-ish Christmas DLC that you can get for the 12 days of Christmas, but you have to log in each day to get them. It's kind of like the daily login bonus that some games do, but it's just a entirely free piece of content that you can download each day. If you only have to like buy it on each day, even though it's free, so go to the store, click, you know, download or purchase or whatever the button is, and then it's yours in your collection forever. If you don't do that on the day, then I believe it is gone forever. So yeah, you want to log in every day if you want them all. If you don't want them all, then only log in the days you're interested. But I'd still say I think it's a cool event designed to keep people interested in Minecraft. Again, it's like the daily login bonus, except it's an entirely free thing they're giving away, which is kind of nice of them. So let's move on to the next question, which comes in from JBlitz15, who says, how many different games do you play in a week? And this was something I thought was a little bit interesting, because you might not figure this, and maybe this makes you go, oh, well, Tweakout is so hard to be you, right? But no, seriously, I think because I play video games so much for my, you know, full-time thing, like, which is making a bunch of videos, I play a whole bunch of Minecraft, like, hours every single day. Sometimes I need to have, like, you know, comfort games when I'm done playing Minecraft, and truthfully, sometimes I'll just go to my Let's Play world. That's a game I like to play for that. But yeah, that means that usually when I'm playing games, games outside of when I'm playing, you know, for videos, which is Minecraft and Fortnite mostly, then that means that I'm usually playing some game that will help me like kind of relax in some way. So I really like, I used to really like COD Zombies for this, but not so much anymore. I really like Hearthstone. I've mentioned this many times before. On the Switch, I've been playing a little bit more of Super Mario Odyssey. That's been a lot of, like, again, there's just some games I like to play because they're relaxing, they're really calm, and yeah, I guess my taste in games has changed a bit, but the number of games I play in a week is surprisingly small given how much games I play. You know, like the hours of games I play is like, you know, way in the double digits, but the number of games I play is probably like 4 or 5, I'd say, honestly, which I know is a lot lower than like some people, and like, you know, you might be like, well, that's not even true gaming, so I can't, but it's something I realized about myself, and I was like, that's kind of odd, and that's the answer to your question, Jay Blitz. But let's move on to the next one, which comes in from Uli Schmidt, who says, is that Schmidt? Who says, isn't the new combat like 2 years old now? And the truth is yeah, the new combat is like actually pretty old. So this is something I wanted to bring up because the new combat, which PC servers are still resisting, which the Pocket Edition and the console users are still resisting like crazy, is something that's almost 2 years old now. It's 18 or like 20 months, or like it's about to be 2 years old as of February next year. So why is this something that people still don't see as a part of Minecraft? And the truth is, because it had such a limited rollout, bear in mind the Java Edition is the smallest version of the game now in terms of sales, and bear in mind most people play online, so only a small portion of that small portion of the audience has experienced the new combat. Then bear in mind that you know, the people developing Minecraft, particularly Jeb, thinks the new combat is a really good idea, and a lot of people, probably the majority of the player base, by like 55-45 or 60-40, do think that new combat is a good idea too, because it adds to the gameplay experience. It makes combat more than just spam clicking. However, it does run into a whole bunch of issues. A lot of people who develop their skills in that system really like it. A lot of people who, again, just feel like combat should be about other things, not about your timing of clicking, really like it. And also in survival, it has issues where like if there's a bunch of stuff, you want to spam click to get away from there. So yeah, basically the whole like, there's so many issues with that in the game. And I think the truth is, when it comes to other versions, they're gonna have to make an entirely new version of new combat and then port that new combat over and like replace the old new combat. Or maybe the Java Edition will just always stay with different combat to the rest. But it's just one of these you know, facts of the game where I guess like they're trying so hard to not make the same mistake twice that they've basically created a 2-tier combat system where there's, you know, like there's Minecraft combat and then there's Java Edition combat. And because I guess, you know, the PC users maybe, you know, like keyboard and mouse is better, right? So you can deal with the newer combat. That's the only explanation I can think as to why they've left it the way it is right now. But yeah, essentially they're just in this locked position of like they can't make a good decision. So it looks like they've just tried to not make decisions besides delaying things to do with new combat. So that's why new combat is 2 years old, but we haven't seen it elsewhere. And yeah, that's why it somehow still causes debates as if it's new combat, even though it's now been around for like 1/4 of the time that Minecraft has been in existence, which is pretty crazy when you think about that too. But yeah, let's move on to the next question from Dryden Drawing, who says, do you know what a conlang is? If not, can you please look it up and share your thoughts? So I don't know why I got a question about linguistics and languages. If you don't know, conlang is a constructed language. I've never heard that abbreviation before, but I do know what a constructed language is. But yeah, to answer the question of like, what are your thoughts on that? The truth is like when it comes to languages, I've always thought the idea of like, so I speak English and only English. I know like a lot of people say that, well, that makes you disqualified from talking. But I've always thought the idea of like building a language from scratch, it sounds so great on paper, but it's the whole problem you run into with everything where like, oh, why don't we create one language that can solve all of them? And then you've just created one more language so that there's even more fracturation. And it's just a terrible thing. But yeah, the only constructed languages I know of are Esperanto, and I think Korean, at least some amount of Korean is like constructed. And constructed in this case, in case you don't know, means that someone, instead of like people just naturally learning to speak to each other and evolving into a language, there's crazy ways how that happen, people just go down and they actually like, you know, they create a language from scratch, with the idea being it'll be the easiest to learn that way. And even though there are languages like this, again, Esperanto, have you ever heard of it? Well, I mean, supposedly it's easy to learn, but there's no point learning these languages because people don't speak them. There's one native speaker in the whole world that like has been born speaking Esperanto, which is terrible. That kid is like, his life is ruined. He has a language that no one can speak it to, because the truth about languages is their utility is in speaking to other people. And also, have you ever had the thing where like someone like corrects you on your grammar in a sentence where you know you both perfectly understand each other and any other person would understand you? They're like, well, actually you said this way around because it's this order, and you're like, what the heck? Or like, you know, like for instance, the one that really annoys me is like you're meant to say, oh, if you're with someone, that is Andrew and I, for instance. It's not Andrew and me or me and Andrew, but it's like everyone understands me and Andrew. Like when you try to impose forceful rules that go against what people think, I think that's terrible in a language, and I really feel like when you just have a whole language developed from that, it's the worst, and that's basically what conlangs are. So what do I think about them? I'm not someone who studies languages, linguistics, or really even knows any languages besides English, so maybe I'm disqualified from this, but I think they're like I think they're a really silly invention of humanity. Like, I think at some point in the future, we'll use one global constructed language, but until then, let's just, like, stick to what we're doing right now, because it just about works, right? That's my opinion, at least. So, yeah, let's move on to the next question, which comes in from NotBot1, and is not about languages, surprisingly, because, you know, you lose, like, 80% of the viewers who are just like, Toy Cat, why were you just talking about languages? You know, isn't it crazy? I had to use language to talk about language. But yeah, let's move to the next question from NotBot1, who says, why did Bedrock initially have exclusive features? So yeah, you might be curious as to why Bedrock had these exclusive features, which we just got in this TU60 update. And the simple answer to this question is that the Bedrock version, so the console version, they decided, or like together with the Java guys and with the 4J guys, like we'll try and follow the PC as close as we can, you know, a little bit behind in some cases, so that we can, again, like we'll follow the same update patterns, because then people can look forward to an update as a whole rather than not knowing when something's coming, and it means you could always be aware of when something would be coming to the console. It was an easy enough system, however, you know, because the 360 is just kind of like a PC with some limitations. However, when they were developing the Bedrock version, which is the Pocket Edition, but renamed to the Bedrock version because that's not a popular name, but when they were developing the Pocket Edition, or the phone version, you had to run it on a phone. Bear in mind the difference in power between a phone, especially a 2011 phone, versus a PC. You know, it's just crazy the sheer difference you get there, and because of that, they had to develop a really stripped down version of the game, and then slowly build it up from there. And because they were building it up on a limited platform, they added features at the time they could be added, not at some, you know, time that the PC version set, because they were developing separately there, or not some set time, space and time. They were just developing features as they could get them there, and they were slowly following the PC, but again, their focus was on making the game optimized, because it had to run on phones, and then later tablets, and then, again, later Windows 10 and stuff, but they had to make sure the game could run perfectly on each of these devices. So, yeah, the reason that they then got exclusive features is because when they were developing certain features, they'd be like, why don't we change this a little bit? And because they're an internal Microsoft/Minecraft team, you know, the Minecraft guys would be like, yeah, sure, give it a try, why not? And yeah, because they were, you know, because the Minecraft Bedrock at some point went from being like, oh, the phone version to being the main version, they're allowed to experiment just as much as the Java guys are, whereas, again, the 4J version is kind of a port, kind of a, you know, unique version of the game now, but they much prefer to focus on just implementing the features, and then sometimes they'll play around with it. Not as much. Again, I'm not sure if that's because they're not allowed to, or they think it's better to get the consistent experience, but that's why Bedrock has exclusive features, because along the way, they were just playing around with stuff, they made something exclusive, and then it took some time to go to the other platforms. So yeah, there you go. Hope that answers your question. Let's move into the next one, which comes in from Luke the Squid, who says, do you think PS4 will ever join Bedrock Edition? If so, when? So I think PS4 should join Bedrock now that they've announced they're going to update Legacy Console, even on the Legacy consoles, which, again, I think that's an important move. Now that means that the PS4, there's no good reason for it not to switch, because, you know, now the players are going to be, you know, winning either way. And when will it join it, though? I really think it's going to take some huge change in Sony management. There has been there's been petitions and stuff, and they've just kind of ignored all of them. I really want to make my own push, like, okay, if I make a video, you know, like, and we get, like, a change thing, or we need to work out some way to directly speak to Sony. We need to hear their actual response to the community that wants it, the community of real Minecraft players on their platform, because honestly, the reason is, if you're in their head, that like, oh, we think people might start playing Xbox, or we don't know Xbox Live on our platform. Whatever the reason is, I'd like to hear what it actually is, so we know what they can fix, because Minecraft and, you know, Microsoft, they've been trying their hardest to, like, you know, work out some compromise. They've been speaking behind the scenes for ages now, but Sony have just been, you know, saying, oh, it's for the children. What the heck, Sony? Really? It's for the how does that make any sense? Do you think, it's just one of those ridiculous things where it's like, they're making up an excuse, and it's like when you see, like, you know, like some 6-year-old, and you're like, do you have my chocolate? And the chocolate's behind them, and they're like, no, I saw someone else take it. And you're like, why? I mean, I can see you're lying to us openly. Why not just tell us? And yeah, basically what I'm saying is Sony is like a 6-year-old with my chocolate behind its back, and it would be kind of cool if, you know, like, well, if PlayStation joined Bedrock, that would be every platform of Minecraft playing together, and that would be an accomplishment. It'd be pretty cool. So yeah, let's move to the final question, which comes in from That Dying Cow. I'm sorry that you're a dying cow, who says, when is your next trip, and are you going to vlog it? So I actually want to vlog my next trip a little bit, because I'm going to Singapore. It's the longest flight I've ever taken. It's 16 hours or something. I think it's actually 14 hours. But, you know, the longest flight I've ever taken was 8 hours, and that was so long, or 10 hours. It was so long. It's like most of a day, whereas this is like a full day. Like, I leave at like 7 a.m. and I get there at 9 a.m. the next day. It's crazy. I mean, some of that's time zones, but it's crazy, and it's also going to be the furthest away I've ever been. It's like the most unique place I've ever been. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to going to Singapore, which is in the far east of Asia, the far southeast of Asia, in case you don't know of it. It's like a little seaport. It's one of the more fascinating countries in the world. It's the one of the 2 countries which are a city-state, i.e. it's just one city is their whole country. So like, you know how there's like a metro around your city? There's a metro around their country, which is, it's cool in my opinion. And yeah, I'm looking forward to going there. There's a lot of things I want to see, and I guess I'd love to vlog it a little bit. Not vlog every day, because that's like a bit of a chore, and like it's not, I feel like daily vlogging's like a very specific thing, and that's not what I do. But I like to upload a couple of vlogs here and there, and I think it will be kind of fun to, like, you know, let's try some travel vlogs on here, because I don't think I've ever done a travel vlog on this channel. I did a couple on the other channel of like Slovenia and Denmark and a few countries like that, but yeah, I hopefully will travel vlog on this channel. I'll do like 1 or 2, and we'll see how those go. So yeah, I look forward to seeing some travel vlogs in January, like in like 2 or 3 weeks. I think it's 3 weeks as of today, actually. Yeah, literally 3 weeks from today, I'm going to be hopping on some form of plane. So yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. I want to vlog it a little bit, because it's a really weird trip. Like, I'm flying from Norway, because I wanted to get a cheap flight deal, and long story behind all of this. But yeah, basically, it's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully you want to see those vlogs, because, I mean, they're going to be on the channel probably either way, unless, I mean, maybe I die on the way or something. So thank you very much for watching the video. Like it if you liked it, share if you really liked it, subscribe if you're around here, and I hope you all enjoy this week's Q&A Saturday. I have a lot of fun as always. It's like Christmas Eve. That's a thing that exists, so you know, make sure to get your Christmas gift, and I know, enjoy like your family, your life, whatever you do on Christmas. I hope you do that today. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day, everyone, because I'll see you all next time. Bye.